Hi everyone. Today Salesforce Lightning day 24. Today and tomorrow it will be Lightning. So let's see what are we going to learn today. So we'll quickly go through the previous session overview and we'll talk about the component use case, and then we'll go to the application event and what is the application event, and then we will see the one of the use case of the application event. Then we'll have a questions and interview. Today's interview questions. Now quickly, what did we learn in last class?
Helper methods.
Helper, how to server side to call server side method,
Call Apex class.
Apex class, stages of the how to call the Apex class, different stages,
Returning the value in a component from Apex class.
our enabled.
Right. So based on the last session, so we know right now how to call the server side and how to get the values from the Apex, how to pass the values to Apex. We know those scenarios. So today what I'll be doing is I'll be taking one of the component event use case. So last component use case, last one, the component event use case, we have just implemented a component and then event. So from the save button, whenever we click on the save button, it's directly calling the event and it will pass the details to the parent component. This is what we have seen in the last session. Today, by using the Apex class, same scenario, but by using the Apex class. So in the Apex class, I'll have two methods. One method where inserting the account inside the database.com, and then another one is returning the data to the parent component. So in the parent component, I have a child component. When I click on a save button, after entering the data here, when I click on a save button, it should directly go to the Apex class. So on clicking on save button, it should hit the Apex class method. And here we need to insert a record inside the account object. And once it is inserted, return back the ID to the event. Then event will pass the ID to the parent component. Now parent component will take the ID and then it will call the method to get the more information about that particular ID, then pass it to the table. So this is what we are going to do it today. So 4 steps. On click on the save button, I'll be calling the Apex. This Apex method is to insert the account. And once it is inserted, passing the ID to event, event is going to pass it to the parent component, and the parent component take the ID and it will pass it to method 2. And then finally, I'll return the data from the Apex class to parent component. Now, first what I'll do is, first I'll implement the Apex class. First I'll implement the Apex class. There are 2 methods are there, method 1 and method 2. So first I'll implement the Apex class. So let's go ahead and implement the Apex class. Now this is Visual Studio. Now let's go to the classes, and here I'll be creating the new Apex class. So let's say that Apex class name is we are going to create an account as well as the retrieve the account. So I'll say that create, retrieve account. So this is my class name. Yes, this is in the class folder. Perfect. Now let's take out this public class, this, and then we have it. Now I'll change this. I'll use the static. And I need a return value, which is an ID. So that's the reason I'm using the string. And method name is the insert account. This is one method. And the second method is to retrieve it. I need to retrieve the data. So that is list of the account. So list of account, list of account, and then get accounts. This is the second method. First method is the inserting, second method is the getting the account. Now for inserting, I'll be passing the complete account record, because if you see here, this child component, in the child component, I'll be entering the account name, phone number, rating. Once I enter it, I'll click on a save. When I click on a save, insert is going to happen. So that means I'll be passing the complete account details, whatever we have entered in the user interface. So what I'll do is I'll be passing the complete account details, account ACC. Now I'll collect all those things and I'll say that insert ACC, and then we'll return the acc.id. That is my first method. Second method is retrieve it. So list of account, ACC list, and select ID, comma, name, comma, phone, comma, rating, comma, industry from account. Now this is normal query. So right now you can do two ways. Either you can pull everything that exists in the account, or else you can pass the ID, then you can retrieve the data. So in case if you pass the ID, so it has to be here, string account ID. Now in that case, we'll have a where class, where ID equal to account ID. Now we'll return the ACC list. Perfect. Two methods are done. Now these methods are going to be called in the Lightning component. So I need to use Aura enabled. Okay, that's my class. One is inserting the account, another one is getting the account. This is my class. Class is done. Now let's deploy this to source org. Deploy this source to org. Okay, so it's done. Now my Apex class is completed. Next thing what I'll do is I'll create a lightning event. Lightning event, this is a component event. So I'll create a component event. Let's go ahead and create a component event. Right click, create Aura event. Let's say that LE underscore. This is account ID. I'm creating the account ID. Yes, Aura. Now here the first thing is that I'm going to change the type component, and this is the description. Within this, how can I pass the data here? What do I need to add it in the component event?
Attribute.
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 Aura colon attribute. Let's say name equal to account ID. And then type is string. Okay, my event is completed. Second step, event is completed. Now, the third step which I'll be creating is child component. First, I'll implement the child component. Child component has 3 input fields and 1 button. This is lightning input, this is lightning input, and this is lightning input, and this is lightning button will be displaying it. And here on click of the button itself, I'm registering the event. So let's go ahead and create the child component. So now let's right click on the Aura, create a component. Now LC underscore C, this is a child component. And what was my event? Account ID. Let's say account ID. Hit enter. Yes, Aura. Let's save it. Now, in the child component, I need a 3 lightning input fields. What is the data that we are entering here? Account related information. All of these are related to account. So I can use a single attribute which is called new account. I can use a single attribute new account. For this, the type which I'll be using is account. Type I'll be using the account, because whatever account name, account phone number, account rating, whatever the user is entering, everything can be stored into the new account. Everything can be stored into the new account. So let's go to the Visual Studio. Aura colon attribute. Now I'll be using the name equal to new account and the type equal to account default value. That S object
Account.
account.
Ma'am, do you know, we don't need to mention S object type in the default?
Yeah. Default is S object type, that is. It should be S object type account. Now, what is the next step?
Input, lightning card, lightning input,
Lightning card. So let's give a title to it. Title equal to, we are creating a account, create account. Now within this, button is in the right side. In order to display the button in the right side, what do we need to use it?
The action.
Aura set attribute equal to action.
Actions.
Aura set attribute equal to actions. Now here I need a button, lightning button. Lightning colon button. And let's say label equal to save. And on click of this button, we'll have to call controller. C.handle save. What else I need in the child component? What else?
Register event.
Sorry,
Register event.
before that, so we have a 3 fields, right? Account name, account phone, account rating.
Yes.
So lightning colon input, label equal to account name, value equal to. So here the value which I'm going to take is directly new account dot name, which is a standard Salesforce API field. Similarly, I'll be taking the phone number and rating. Account phone and account rating. Perfect. So we are done with the UI design. So what do we need to do here? On click of this button. Now here we have to do the registering the event. Name equal to, let's take it as a ACC record, and type equal to, what is our lightning event name? What is our lightning event name? LE underscore account ID. LE underscore account ID. So what are the steps I'm doing in the child component? I'm doing the UI where the user is entering the name, phone number, rating and clicking on a save button. On click on the save button, there is another controller which is calling, and at the same time I'm doing the registering the event. Registering the event. Now let's go to the controller. In the controller, what is my method name? Handle save. No. So the first thing, what do I need to capture here? When the user entered this name, phone number, rating, and clicking on a save button, what is the first step needs to be considered here? What is the first step needs to be considered? What do I need to do on click on the save button?
Call the event.
Call the event, or call the Apex?
Here it should be Apex, I think.
First step is I need to call the Apex. This is the first step. So let's go ahead and call. But before calling, I need to collect whatever the user has entered. I need to collect all those information because this method is expecting the input parameter account ACC. So the first thing is that I need to collect the whatever the user has entered. So whatever the user has entered, everything is available only in one attribute called new account. So what I'll do is component.get v dot the attribute name. So in this attribute, all the details will be there. So I'll store this into the one variable, let's say ACC. Now, next step is I need to call the Apex class. For calling the Apex class, where should I need to write the logic? In controller or helper?
Helper.
Helper. So let's go to the helper, and helper has component attribute. Now here, the first thing I need to call the Apex controller. In order to call the Apex controller, var action equal to component.get. Component.get. What is my
Method name.
method name? The first method name is insert ACC. Insert ACC. This is my method. And the second step is action dot. I need to pass the details, set params. Set params. Inside this, now what is my parameter name in the Apex? So it is a ACC. So let's go here. Let's give the ACC. Now, in this case, I need to pass the account details to the Apex. When I need to pass the details account details to the Apex, I do not have anything here. The first step is I'm calling the Apex. But before that, there is no logic. Where is the logic that I'm getting it? I am in the controller. In the controller, whatever the user has entered, there I'm collecting it. So what I'll do is this ACC, I'll be pass it to the helper. So while calling the helper, I'll pass the ACC so that I can pass the details, whatever the user has entered the details. From here, I'm passing to the, I'm setting the parameter while calling the Apex method. Now, the third step is action.set callback. So in the callback, we know that this comma function, and then we have a response. Now inside this response, first let me get the state equal to response dot get state. Now let's check if my state equal to success. If my state equal to success, then what I'll do is, next thing is that I need to get the result, whatever the result. So my Apex class is returning the account ID. My Apex class is returning the account ID. So I'll be storing that into the result response dot get return value. So get return value, it's a method. And then once I get the details, once I received it, now here I'm receiving the output from Apex. Received Apex output. Apex method output. Now, once I receive the Apex method output, what should I need to do the next step? Once I receive the ID, account ID, right? Child component is receive the account ID. What is the next step?
Pass that value to event.
Pass that value to the event. So once it is successful, that means the state is successful here. Once it is successful, I'm capturing the data output from the Apex method. Now this is the place where I need to call the event. So where EVT equal to component dot get event. Component dot get event. So in order to call the event, I need to go to my component, get my event name, ACC record. So this is, we are calling the event. Component event. Calling the component event. Now, once we call, while calling the component event, we need to pass the parameter, right? Because my event has AID. So this is the attribute it has in my event. So I need to pass this AID. That means EVT dot set params. And then within this, I'll be passing the AID. So what value do I need to pass it? Where is my output? To event, which value?
RES.
RES. RES, I need to pass it. Then passing is done. The next step is fire. Fire the event. Now, once all these actions are done, the final step is $A dot NQ
Q action.
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 Perfect. Now, this is my child component. Child component is done. Now, I need to implement the parent component. When I am implementing the parent component, I need to implement a data table. I need to call the child component. Now, by the way, are we calling the Apex class from the Lightning component? Are we calling the Apex class? Are we calling the Apex class here?
No.
So we need to call the Apex class in the child. Controller equal to, this is my Apex class. Now this is done. In the controller, I need to call the helper. While calling the helper, I need to pass the details. Helper dot, this is my method name, helper method. While calling the helper method, I'll be passing the component, and whatever the output is there, ACC, new account, I'll be passing the new account. Now helper dot helper method, so that what will happen, it will go to my helper. It will pass the ACC, then I'm calling the Apex method. While calling the Apex method, I'm passing the ACC and call back successful. Then we are getting the output from the Apex method. Same details we are passing to the event. Now my child is completed. The next thing which I need to create is parent component. The next one which I need to create, parent component. Right click, Aura component, LC underscore parent account ID. Yes. Now for the parent account ID. So for the parent, two things which I need to do on the parent component. One is I need to call the child component, and the next one is I need to implement the data table. So let's go ahead. First thing, let's call the controller. Parent also need to call the controller, because parent is retrieving the data. Parent is calling this to retrieve the account details, So parent is also hitting the Apex class. So controller equal to same class. Controller equal to, that is the class. Now here, what all I need? Okay, so in this case, I have a table. So basically, I need an attribute which stores the record, account record. So what I'll do is I'll take a account and type of list. So which is going to store all the records here. And then the data table, for the data table, I need a column. Okay, those two, I'll be implementing it. So first thing is that I need Aura attribute. Aura attribute name equal to account type list default. Okay, this is my attribute. Now I need a data table. So lightning colon data table. So for the data table, we have an attribute called key field ID, and then data. Here the data which I need to pass it here is the accounts. Whatever I'm going to store it into the accounts, I'll be passing those information. Passing the accounts here. Now the next one is column. Another attribute is columns, because in the table we have a account name header, phone header, rating header. So we need to display this header details. In order to display the header details, I'll be using the columns. And then we'll have a v dot. I need another attribute that stores all the column details. So which is, let's take a columns. And the type is list. We'll take out the default. So here a columns. Lightning data table key field is perfectly done. Now, also I need to call the child component. Here. Now, before doing the child component, for the data table, I need to build the table. By default, it should display. As soon as I open the component, it should display the table. So it should display the table with empty rows, but the header should be account name, phone, rating. So how can I implement that? On load of the component, I need to build the table. How can I implement it?
Init handler.
Init handler. Aura colon handler.
Name init.
Init, and then value equal to
This action. This exclamation.
C dot
Doing it.
init. Perfect. Now let's go to the do init. Let's build the account ID controller, parent controller. Now this is my do init. So in the do init, I'll be building the columns. Now in order to do that, var col equal to, I need to build an object here. Within that we have a multiple arrays, like how many columns that I wanted to display. So in this case, I'm displaying the account name, phone, rating. So that's the reason I have taken 3 columns. 3 columns which I have taken. Okay. So for the first one, label, account name, and the field name should be the exactly same as the API name. Field API name, comma type also should match with Salesforce field API name. Now this is my field name type equal to text. Perfect. So what I'll do is I'll use the same thing. So here phone, field name is phone, type is text, label rating, field name rating, type text. Now my column is completed. My data table is completed. Now, how parent can retrieve the data from event? In order to retrieve the data from event, what should parent will be doing it? How can we implement the logic in order to get the details from the event in the parent component?
Handle event. Aura handle event.
Aura handler.
Handle event.
We need to use Aura handler.
All right.
Now here name will be same as a wherever we are firing the component, wherever we are firing the event. So whatever the name we have given here, account record. So it should be the same name in the parent component also. Same name in the parent component. Now value, what should be the value here? Do we have a value here? I'll not be having any value. Instead of a value, I'll be having a event. So my event name is C:, LE_account ID. And the action is handle event. Now in the parent component, I should be calling the child component also. So C:, LC_C_account ID. This is my child component. This is my child component. Let's save it. Now let's go to the handle event. Controller. Next one is a handle event. Now for the handle event, what are the things that we need to do here? What is the first thing which I need to do?
We have to retrieve from the event the parameter.
From the event, we need to retrieve it. So basically, I need to get the attribute value from event. So for that, I'll be using the var account ID equal to event dot get param. So what is the name of the parameter in the event? AID, right? Yeah, AID. Perfect. Now let's save it. Now what is the next step that I need to do?
Call the apex class
Call the apex.
from through helper.
Call the apex and pass the account ID. Now, in order to do that, we need to go to the helper. So in the helper, I need a component attribute. So var action equal to component dot get c dot. What is my method name? Get accounts. Get accounts. Now, for this get accounts, I need to pass the attribute called AID. So action dot set params. Action dot set params. Within this, I have a parameter apex side AID. And for this also, I need to get it. From where will I get it? From controller, it should be passing to the helper. So helper need this, and then I'll be passing this information. Perfect. Now next step is action dot set callback. This comma function response. Now within this response, check what is the state of response. So response dot get state. Now after that, check whether it is a successful or not. State equal to state equal to success. Then once I have the data, once I have the successful callback is happened, then what are the result is there? What are the result is there, which is getting it from the response dot get return value method. And then I'm receiving what I'm receiving the list of accounts here. I'm receiving the list of accounts. So that list of accounts I'll be storing into the attribute called accounts. I'm storing into the attribute called accounts. So component dot set v dot accounts comma result. What are the result is there? What are the result is there? That result I'm storing into the action. Now finally, I need to do the NQ action. NQ action. Then pass the action here. That's all. Now the next step is I need to call this method from the controller. And while calling the method, helper dot helper method name, and I need to pass the component and the AID. Any questions so far? Any questions?
Swapna, I think in the do init we have to do set, right? Component dot set
Yes.
calls.
Yes. So I need to set the columns. So here, because I need to done with the building the column. So component dot set v dot a columns comma call. Now some developers, what they will do is instead of writing this var and instead of setting this, what they will do is this entire code, they will directly write inside this. They will directly write inside this. So anything you can do, either you can set it to the var and you can assign the var, whatever the var is there, you can assign it to a columns, or else you can directly build within the component. While setting the attribute, you can directly build that. Okay, any other points which are missing? Parent component is done. No, first I need to do the child component. Did I deploy the event? LE underscore account ID. Something is wrong in the aura attribute. Type space, right click, deploy source to org. Okay, so event is done. The next one is a child component. I need to push the child component. Right click, deploy source to org. Okay, perfect. Child component is also done. Next one is a parent component. Right click, deploy source to org. Something is wrong here. What is it?
It's capital F. Okay.
Capital?
F.
Where the capital S?
F. Field name. Capital F.
No, that should be fine. Field name. Ah, okay. Comma is missing. Okay, now it should be fine. Deploy source to org. Okay. Now we have deployed the event, deployed the Apex class, deployed the child component, deployed the parent component. Perfect. So let's go to the developer console. Now file, close all, file open resource, LC underscore P underscore account ID. Yeah. So I have this component here. Okay. File. Let me check the application start.app. So LE underscore application. Now I'll be calling the parent component here. C colon LC underscore parent underscore account ID. Okay. Here we are calling the controller. Fine. Let's see the output. Okay. Fine. So, okay, let me reduce this create component. For that create component, let me add the style. So basically this create component is it showing as a huge, the lines. So what I'll do is I'll put this into the div. I'll put this into the div. Inside the div, and div will have a class. Let's say box. Now, is it a parent or is it a child? Is it a parent or child? Do we have any other components before the div? The CSS is a parent or child?
Parent.
Parent.
So parent, so that's the reason I'm not putting any space there. Now, what I need is basically I need to decrease the width of it. So what are the width is there? I'll be decreasing the width. So first, let me check how much width it is required actually. Okay. Now here, width. Okay, 600 pixel is fine. Then I'll add a space in front of the component. So margin left. Okay, so what I'll do is margin left. Colon. Let's add some 50 pixel more. Okay, 150 should be enough. And then I'll add some padding. Okay. So let me take this. Let's go to the developer console. Let's click on save. Now refresh. Now I have a create component and below the data table is showing. Now, if I enter any data here, or if I enter Infosys India, and the phone number, some number, and the rating, warm. So on click on the save. On click on the save, what is happening? It goes to the Apex class. It goes to the Apex class, the method one. Method one is going to return the ID. So it will return back to the child component. So this child component will pass it to the event. So we have a event here. So this event will take the ID, and this ID will be passed to the parent component, and this parent component again it will call the class, which is a method 2. It will call the method 2. In the method 2 we are doing the query. So it will return the query complete details. It will return, and then it will send back to the this data table. Now we will see the output here. Now let's click on a save. It takes a time. What is happening? Okay, so let's click on inspect source. Component. Let's see first the child component, whether it is sending the information or not. So basically here ACC, and what is the response? Is it firing it or not in the parent component? What is happening here? Are we getting the data from event or not? Then it is calling the Apex class, and are we passing the data here? And then this is the whether it is successful or not. But before that, I'll be getting the logs here. Insert failed. Missing field. Or account name is missing. That means in the child component, ACC data is not passing. ACC data is not passed. ACC data is not passed in the child component. In the child component, ACC data is not passing. We open this, new account, a subject type, account, phone, rating, perfect. Now here I'll be getting the account details, right? And then here ACC it is passing the details. Okay, so let me click on again. Phone number and the rating, warm. Click on save. It's hitting here. Now let's add the watch point here. JSON dot string file ACC. Okay, I'm getting the object details, account. Component dot get v dot new account. Proxy. So let's add the JSON. dot stringify. And let me add here. Just says account. Why it is not capturing the complete information? Basically, I'm not getting the data. New account. Console.log. Component.get. Let's save. And let's go to my Apex class. This is my Apex class. I just wanted to print here what is ACC is coming. System.debug ACC. Okay. Debug, clear the logs. Refresh. Okay. New account. Number 1. Click on save. Error. Okay. Now let's see. Account is null. Why account is null?
So do we have to specify the parameters for S object, like what all it will contain, like name, rating, phone? I
No,
think
I
that's how
don't
we
think
had
so.
done it last.
Yeah, I don't think so. So new account default S object type. Yeah.
Console.log check in JavaScript we are getting value or not.
No, we are not getting. So it says that object. It doesn't say that name, and so it just says the object S object type equal to account.
If we remove default value,
Okay. Account phone number 1. Click on save. Basically, it is not capturing the information. Whatever we have entered here, this data is not able to captured by these values are not able to capture. Oh shit. V dot new account. V dot new account phone. V dot new account rating. Now let's go. Let's refresh. Okay. So Hyderabad. So phone number, some number, account rating, warm. Click on save. Now I see the data is coming. Name, Hyderabad, phone, right? So these all our data is coming. Now perfectly fine. Let's move on. Now helper, it is going. And then from helper, it is calling the apex. Calling back, set call back. Now it is successful. Now I see the state is successful. Now I'll get the record. So this is my ID, the account ID. Perfect. Now next thing is that I'm passing the ID to the event. Let's move on. Now this is the parent component. This is the parent component. Parent is heard that event has some data has passed to event. So parent is again it called handle event. Here we are getting the account ID. Perfect. And then we are calling the helper method. And in the helper method, we are calling the method 2. Now for method 2, I'm passing the account ID. And then we'll have a set callback. There you go. Something is not missing. New account attribute. New account of component. LC underscore P account ID is not visible. It says new account. Attribute set. Let me go to the parent component. Now, parent component, this is the CSS. Where did I mention the new account? This is the AID component helper method. In the helper method, accounts. Yes, accounts.
Your response.
Get callback. Yeah. Okay, so get callback. What is happening in the get callback? Yes, somebody was saying something. Get return value. Is something wrong here in the set callback?
Response telling where state.
Yeah,
where state equals to.
seventh line.
So start.app, LA_application. Let's click on a preview. New account, phone number, and the rating, warm. Click on save. Right, okay. Now it is displaying the data. It takes some time because it is going to the Apex class server side and it is bringing the data from the Apex side. So that's the reason it will take some time. It will take a time. Now, in case if you wanted to display entire list, in that case, instead of passing the ID, so what you can do is, instead of passing the ID, you can just remove this ID here and don't pass any ID to this and pull everything. So that what will happen, you can see the entire account details. Any questions so far, anybody on writing the program for the component event? Now these kind of mistakes will happen, like whenever we are writing spelling mistakes will happen. But the logic, whatever the logic that we have written, is anybody has any questions on this? Okay. Perfect. So this is the component event. Similarly, for this component event, what I need the homework is homework on the component event, implement a lightning component to display the new added lead records in the data table. That means this is a lead on top. Instead of a create a account, it is a create a lead. So this is a lead. When you create a lead, it should add one record here. And when you add a next one, so next one you are adding here new lead one and click on a save button. It should add the second row. And again you are clicking on the third one. Again you are inserting the new record here. Click on a save button. It should add the third row here. When you add the new one and when you click on a save, it should add the fourth row. So that means this data table should be keep on extending. It should not, when I enter this and click on a save, it will override the first one. The homework for you is it should not override the first one. As you are adding, the rows keep on increasing in the data table. The rows keep on increasing in the data table. So how you are going to do that? Any idea how you are going to do that? So you have a attribute called in the parent component accounts, the data table which is having the data accounts, right? So what you need to do is get this accounts everything, like where accounts equal to component.get get all your accounts. v.accounts. Get everything here. Then what you do is accounts dot the result which you are getting the result. Push that result into the accounts. So once you are done with the pushing it, then you have to set back component.set whatever your attribute is there, v.accounts, comma, whatever the final output is there. So final output is in this accounts. So if you do these three steps, what will happen is it will keep on, the existing one will be as it is. Then it is pushing the latest record. And then finally you will be getting all the records here. Clear? Now, let's move on. Next one is application event. Now, application event, let's understand what is the application event. So far, whatever we have done with the component event, like we created one application, Lightning app, and inside that we have a parent component 2, and inside the parent component 1, we created a child component. Again, inside the child component, we have a grandchild. Again, inside that, we have a grandchild, right? So if I am hitting the event, if my event is, if I am registering the event here in the grandchild, if I am registering here, what will happen? Only the parent child component and parent component, and if there are any grandparent component, only it is happening at the up direction, which is called as a bubble. Component event is only works for the bubble. But whereas application event, in case if you are firing the event in the grandchild, who all can handle the event is basically all the higher side. Like if you are firing the event in the grandchild, so it will be child component and then parent component, and as well as the siblings also can handle. So the parent component to the other component. With the component event, this was not possible. This component was not able to call this event. But in the application event, parent to component also can handle the event. Parent to component can handle the event, and grandchild also can handle the event. That means application event is handled by the bubbling, siblings, and inheritance. Everybody can handle the application event. Everybody can handle the application event. So that's the reason application event we call as, it's a traditional publish subscribe model. It is traditional publish subscribe model. So because this event is handled by everyone in the Lightning application, whoever is there in the Lightning application, whether it is a different parent component or within this parent component, I have a two child components. Can this two child component can handle? Yes, they can also handle it. They can also handle it. So inside this also it is possible it can handle, right? So everybody is able to handle the application event. Who all are there inside the Lightning application? Everybody can handle. So that's the reason application event follows a traditional publish subscribe model. So this is called as a publish subscribe, which is in short word we call it as a pub sub. In short, it calls as a pub sub model. This is pub sub model in the Lightning Aura component. So application event is a pub sub model where an event can be handled by any component. Could be a grandchild, could be a sibling grandchild, anybody can handle within the application irrespective of the hierarchy. It doesn't care about the hierarchy, whether it is my parent or it is a sibling or it is a grandchild. It does not care about the hierarchy level. So irrespective of the hierarchy, everybody is able to call this application event. Everybody is able to call the application event. Now, there are a couple of things. Right now, we know that how to fire the event for the component event, how to handle the component event in the parent, right? We know those details. Now here, component event, and this side, it's an application event. Now, first thing, in the component event, first you will register. First, you will register the event. In order to register the event, what you will do, how you will write the logic? In order to register the event, how do you write the logic here?
Register the event.
So we use Aura colon register event. Then name equal to, we'll give a name to it. Right now we have given account record. And then what are the other attributes which we have? Type equal to
Type is equal to event.
event name. Right now we have created LE_account ID. This is how we call it in the component event. Now, whereas in the application event, the first thing, registering the event. Registering the event. So for registering the event, you need to say Aura colon register event. Aura colon register event. Then we'll have a name. You can give any name here. So let's say account record. Now type equal to, you will call same component, C colon app event. C colon app event. Okay, this is at the component level. If you want to register component, this is what you will write it. If you want to register the application, this is what you will write it. But before this, how do you implement the component event? Lightning component event, how do you implement it? Aura colon event.
Event type
Type equal to,
component.
we'll write a component. Now in application, instead of a component, we need to specify the application here in capital. Now this is the lightning event, and in the component, this is the first step of the register event, and this is the application of the register event. Once the register event is done, now the second step is firing the event. Fire event. Now, in order to fire the event, how you will fire it, the event?
First component dot get event, then fire function.
Component dot get event.
Get event.
And inside this get event, you will be calling this ACC record, your event, right? So you will store this into the one variable. And then finally, you will fire the event. EBT dot fire. Now, same thing here in the application event. In the application event, there is a difference between the application event and the component event whenever you are firing it. Here in the component event, when you are firing it, you are referring this name, whatever the register event name is there, you are referring that name here, and then you are firing the event. But in the application event, it's little bit different. It's a little bit different. So first, let me give you the syntax for the application event. So for the application event, what we will do is we don't use a component dot get event here. what we use is we use $a.get. We use $a.get, and then inside this, instead of saying this account record here, what I'll be doing is I'll say that e.c:, my event name is app event here. Syntax is $a.get, E means event, C component, application event, whatever this name is there. In this scenario, what we are doing is we are passing the event. Directly we are calling the event. We are not calling the name here. In component event, we are calling the event here. So what are the name of the event is there? That event we are calling by using the component.get event. But here what I'm doing is I'm not using the component anymore in the application. Directly I'll use the $a.get, and whatever my event name is there, I'll use e.c:, app event. This is the difference between the component event firing the event between the component and application. Component event, if you have to fire it, you have to use component.get event. Application event, if you have to fire, you have to use the $a.get. No more component.get here. It's not a component.get, it's a $a.get. $a.get e.c:, app event. C.app event. So this is for the firing the event. Now the third step, handling the event. Handling the event. Now how do we handle the event in the component? How do we handle it?
Aura handler.
Aura handler, then what we will say?
Aura handler name and event is equal to
Name, type, event action.
Name, we will give this name here. ACC record. ACC record. And then event. Then we will call the event C:, LE_ACC ID. And then finally we have a action, which is the action is C.handle event. This is for the handling the event in component. Observe this, in the component event, when you are registering the event, that time whatever the name you are specifying for the name, whatever the name you are giving to that during the registering the event, that's the same event, same name is used while firing it, even for while handling it. Same name is used in while firing as well as the handling. But in the application, no, it's not like that. In application, I don't care about the name of while registering the event, whatever the name I can give it, but I do not call that name anywhere. Everywhere I use the event, calling the event directly. So here, the third step is handling the event in the application. Handling the event is same, Aura handler, and the event, I don't have a name here, event equal to C:, app event. C:, app event. And then I have a action. Action equal to !C.handle application event. Now this is my handler event. There is no more component here. Name, it's not there. Name is not there. Only during the registration, we give a name, but during the handling it, you do not require any name of it. You do not need any name. Right? So the differences which you have observed is fire event and then handling event. Fire event, you have a component.get event in the component event, application event, you have a $a.get, and during the handling, you have a name here in the component event. There is no name into the application event. Clear? So let's move on. Now, application event follows the traditional pub/sub model, where an event can be handled by any component irrespective of the hierarchy level. And an application event is fired from an instance of component, could be a grandchild, grandchild, or anybody can call. So application event propagation, okay, we have a different things here. Application event propagation, creating the custom component events, and then firing the component event. First, we need to create an application event. Then I need to create a custom component. Then I need to fire the component. Then I need to handle the component events. 4 steps. So basically, we have a create an event, register event, fire an event, handle an event. Creating the event is normal event. Type equal to application. Registering is register event. Name equal to whatever the name you can give. Type equal to, you have to specify the name of the event. And then fire a event, it will be $a.get. You have to specify the E dot. My namespace is nothing but, ideally it is a C colon. C is nothing but in Aura, remember this, V is for the fields or attributes. Wherever you are calling the attribute or a fields, we have to use V dot. V dot. C is nothing but whenever you are calling the custom component, or you are calling the functions, which is Apex functions, right? So whenever you are calling the functions or anything, you have to use the C dot. If you are calling the component, then in that case, C colon you have to use. If you are calling the handler method or any function, Apex method, then you need to use a C dot. If it is a component, if you are calling the component, then you have to use the C colon. C colon. Now here E is nothing but event. I am calling the event. So here E is event dot. My namespace will be, ideally for any fresh new org, it will be C is the namespace. If you have installed any app exchange or manage package, if you install, that is a different thing altogether. So every managed package will have a different namespace. So that we will discuss differently. So in case if you are not implementing in the unmanaged package, so there are 2 things are there, managed package, unmanaged package, whoever does not know. So usually on the unmanaged package, if you are implementing a lightning component, unmanaged package will be having some namespace. So you need to specify that namespace here. Now in case if you have not installed any packages, so directly use the C colon. Directly use the C colon, and then specify your event name. Specify the event name. And then in the handle event, Aura colon handler event equal to C colon, whatever your application event is there, that's the same event. Any questions here on the steps, application event steps? Okay. So before going to the use case, what I'll do is I'll implement one generic component just to understand how the application event is working. Okay, so before going into the real-time scenario, let's see how the event is working. So what I'll be doing right now is, so right now I'll create this is my application event. So this is my application event. Then inside this application event, I'll be creating the parent 1 and the parent 2. I'll be creating the parent 1 and the parent 2. This is parent 1 and this is parent 2. So this is my application. And inside this application, I'll be implementing the parent 1 component, and this is the parent 2 component. And inside the parent 1, what I'll do is I'll create a 2 components here, 2 child components. 2 child components I'll be creating it. So this is a, assume that this is inside the parent 1, child 1 component. This is inside the parent 1, child 2 component. This is the parent 1, child 1. This is parent 1, child 2. Now inside this parent 1, child 1, again I'll be creating another grandchild. Another grandchild. Now I'll be having here another grandchild. So that means parent 1, C1, grandchild. Okay, so parent 1, C1, grandchild. So let's keep that orange. Okay. Now this is what I'm going to implement. Logic, I'll not write anything. This is to understand if I implement event. For example, if I'm firing an event in the child component. If I'm firing the event in child component. If I fire the event in the child component, who all can handle it? Can the grandchild and the parent 1, child 2, and the parent 2, parent 1, can everybody is able to handle it or not? We will see. So that we can understand the flow, how the application event is flow is going on. Who is the first person is called grandchild or a child or a parent or other parent or a parent, the other child component. Who will be the first person is called whenever the event is fired. Who is the first person who is going to handle it? So I'll show you this scenario. So basically I'll be creating the parent 1, parent 2, parent 1, child 1, parent 1, child 2, parent 1, child 1, grandchild 1. Now, let's go ahead and create it. Now, first thing, I'll be creating the parent 1 component. Let me close all of this. Okay. Now, right click, create Aura component. Now, before Aura component, let me create an event. Because right now, in order to create an event, I need to use the type equal to application. So right click on this, create Aura event. Let's take LE underscore. I'll take application. Now Aura. Right. By default, type will be application Aura attribute. So I do not need anything here, but in case if you just want it like this, you can keep it. But right now I'm not passing anything to the event. Right now, I'm not passing anything to the event. Let me deploy this. Now I have the event. I stored the event name. Perfect. Let's close this. Now, next thing is that I'm going to create a lightning component. So the parent component 1, right click, Aura component. So what I'll do is LC underscore P1 application. Aura. Now I have a P1 application. Now inside this P1, I'll just use kind of a message. I'll just add a Aura attribute. Aura colon attribute. Some name I'll take it here. Let's say that message type equal to string. Perfect. Now let's say this is my parent one. Next, same thing I'll be creating the parent two.
Swapna?
Yeah.
How do you add comments automatically in the VS Code?
That's a visual code setup. I'll show you the other time.
Okay.
Now I need to go for the parent two component. So first I'll create all the components so that it will be easier. Now the next thing is that I'm creating the parent two component. Now next one is a parent two component. Perfect. Now this parent two also I'll add the same attribute. Let's save this. Now so far I have completed parent one and parent two. These two components that I have created. Next I'll be creating the parent one child one component, parent one child two component. Now let's go ahead, create another one. Right click, create a Aura component. Now this time right click, Aura component, parent one, child one. Now I'm adding the same thing in the parent one, child one. Let's save. And the next one I'll be creating the parent two, child two. Right click, Aura component, parent two, parent one, child two. Perfect. Let's say. Okay, so now I have a parent one, parent two, parent one, child one, parent one, child two. Now the structure is done. Grandchild, I'll create it later. Now the event is happening where event is happening in the parent one, child one. The event is happening in the parent one, child one. So what I'll do is I'll go to the parent one, child one. In the parent one, child one. So I'm going to register the event. I'm going to register the event. In order to register, I'll be using the Aura colon register event name equal to, I can give any name. So let's say that this is a example application. Okay, then type equal to, we have a lightning event name. So the lightning event name is LE underscore application. LE underscore application. Registering is done. Now I need to fire the event. In order to fire the event, what I'll do is I'll simply create a button. I'll simply create a button. That button I'll keep it inside the card. So let's say that card title equal to, this is child one. This is a child one inside the parent one. Inside the parent one. Now inside this, I'll be creating a button because I need to fire On click of the button, I need to fire an event. Lightning colon button, label equal to submit. On click of this, I'll be calling the controller. C dot handle, submit. C dot handle, submit. Now let's go to the controller, copy this, P1C1, and the controller is this one. Now this is my submit. Now what I need to do, I need to fire an event. How can I fire the event? What is the syntax for firing the event? $A dot get. So $A dot get, I'll be using the E dot C colon. Whatever my lightning event name is there, I'll use that event name here, E dot C colon event. Now this I'll be storing into the one variable, EVT equal to $A dot get. And finally, I'll fire event dot fire. Event dot fire. EVT dot fire. So that's it. I'm done with the firing. Done with the firing the component. P1C1 is completed. I'm firing the event in the child component. This is completed. Now I need to handle it in the P1C2, P1, P2. Sibling I need to handle. I need to handle in the sibling. I need to handle in the parent, right? And then final, after that, once the family is completed, then other family of this parent, I need to hit it. So now let's go ahead. Now let me push this component. This is completed. Right click, deploy source to org. Perfect. So let me go to the P1C2. In the P1C2, I just have a message here. I just have a message. So what I can do is, here I can print, I need to handle the event here. Also I can print some message. So here, in order to handle, I need to write aura colon handler event equal to C colon whatever my lightning event name is there, application event name, that's the same name. And then action equal to curly braces exclamation C dot handle event. Perfect. Now here what I'll do is I'll print some message here. Let's say that child 1, this is a child 2, P1, C2. Then inside this, I'll print a message. V dot message. Any questions so far on this application event? Lightning colon card. I'm placing inside the card. Title equal to, this is a child 2, P1, C2. Child 2, P1, C2. Perfect. In the P1 C1, I have written child 1 inside P1. Here I have written child 2. Okay, let me take the same title in the child 1 also. So this is a child 1, P1, C1. Control S. Now let me deploy this also. Deploy source to org. Now I'm deploying the child 1 component because I made a changes to the lightning card. Now let's close this. Now I'm working on the child 2. In the child 2, I need to handle the event. So in order to handle the event, let's go to the controller. Now my method name is handle event. Now how can I handle the event? What is the logic? I have already written the handling the event. Now what I need to do, I need to set some message here. So let's say that this is the method it is calling. So what I'll do is component.set. I'll just set a message v.msg, comma. So let's say that this is parent child 2 handling the event. Now parent 2 child 2 is completed. Handling the event inside the parent 2, parent 1 child 2 is completed. Now this is also completed. Let's deploy this to source. Now what I have done, parent 1 child 1 is completed, where it is firing the event. Now next thing is that I'm handling the event in P1 C2. This is also completed. Next I'll go to the parent 1. Next I'll go to the parent 1. So in the parent 1 also I'll try to handle the event. But in the parent 1 I need to call there are two components that I need to call. These two components I need to call it, as well as I need to handle the event. So let's go to the parent 1. Now inside the parent 1, first I need to call the two components, lightning card, title. This is a parent of P1. Now inside this, I'm calling the two child components. So one is LC underscore P1 C1 underscore application, and the next one is a P1 C2 application. Two child components I'm calling here. Two child components I'm calling. This is done. Now what I'll do is I'll print a message here just to understand parent 1. Let's say here message v.msg. Now calling the two child component is done. Now parent 1 also need to handle the event. Let's see whether it will handle or not. So I'm writing the handler event in the parent 1 as well. So aura colon handler event equal to, we have a event name. Here is the event name, LE underscore application, C colon LE underscore application, then action, C dot handle P1 event. Perfect. So let's go to the controller. Now my method name is P1 event. Now component.set v.message. Now here, this is the parent component. This is parent 1 component handling the event. Perfect. Now this is done. Then I'll move to the P2. So let me deploy this. Deploy source to org. Now, inside the P2, I do not have any component here, so I need not to call anything. Just I need to do the handling the event, and then I'll print some message like this parent to some message is there, right? So the same message I'll be printing onto the parent to as well. So what I'll do is let me copy this in the parent to. Okay, so but I do not need this shell components. Now here parent to, and this is a V message and the handle P2 event. Perfect. So let's go to the controller, P2 controller. And in this P2 controller name is handle P2 event. And here the message should be component.set v.message. This is parent to component handling the event. Now let's see. We are done with the parent to. So let's move the parent to. Right click, deploy source to org. Okay, so parent to is done. Then P1 also let's deploy. Now P1 C2. Let's deploy the P1 C2. Now I'm done with all the components. I'm done with all the components. Now finally what I need to do is I need to go to the application. I need to go to the application. In the application, I need to call the P1 as well as the P2. Both should be calling. Right, so let's go to the developer console. Now let's refresh. Okay, file. Close all. Okay, so close all. Let me open the component which we have created. Yes, it is there. Now let's go to the application. Open resource. Start.app. LA application. Now, C column. Whatever the two parent components, I need to call it LC P1 and then C colon LC P2 application. Two components I am calling here. Now let's click on a preview. Now, when I click on a preview, I have a parent P1. Inside that, I have a child 1, child 2. And then I have a P2. Let me change P2. File, open resource. LC underscore P2. Application component. Here it is a P2. That's it. Now, so this is parent one component. So this is a parent one component. Inside the parent component, I have a child one component and I have a child two component. Right? And parent one message is printing. Then I have another one which is called as a parent two component. That's exactly whatever we have discussed. So parent one, inside that two child components, and then parent two. Now, as soon as I click on a submit button, now let's click on a submit. Event is firing in child one component. Who all are handling? Child two is handling it. Parent one is handling. Parent two is also handling. Everybody is handling it. Everybody, even the parents and the child, right? Grandchild, everybody is going to. In case if you want a grandchild, you can create another component. You can create another component and then you can fire the event. Now, which one it will be firing the first one? Which one it will be firing the first one? What I'll do is this parent one, I'll place it on top. Now, right click on this, inspect. Now, source, component. Now I have a P1. Now let me put debug on the P1. Let me put debug on to the parent 2. C1 is firing it. And let me put the debug on C2. I have kept the debug on all of them. Now let me refresh. Now, right now I'm clicking on a submit button. Where it went to the sibling. It went to the sibling. First it went to the sibling. In case if you have a grandchild, first it will go to the grandchild. So that means the first one which will be hitting in the So what will happen is the first thing is that whenever the event is fired, first it will go to the inheritance, which is a down. Inheritance. Inheritance is nothing but downwards. If you have any grandchild, so what will happen? It will go to the down first. And the second step is, it will hit the siblings. Second thing, it will hit the sibling. Right now it hit the C2. So which is sibling is nothing but could be within that component if there are any other thing like any siblings are there. So it could be a right side or a left side. Right, could be a left side or it could be right side, anybody. This is the second one. It will hit the first is downwards and then it is hitting the sibling. Now I see that P1, C2 is the sibling for the C1. So it is hitting the C1. Now let's move on. Next one, it is hitting the parent. Next one, it is hitting the parent one. So that means bubbling. The third step is, it is happening the direction it goes to the bubbling. Direction it goes to the bubbling within the family. This is within the family bubbling. So if you have a parent, a grandparent, a grandparent, anybody is there within the family. So everybody it is going to hit it. So this is up direction, which is a bubbling. Now once this is done, now I'm done with here. I'm done with down. We have not implemented any grandchild, but if there is any grandchild, first it will hit the inheritance first, then it will hit the siblings, and then it is hitting the parent. Now this structure is completed. Now this one is within the family structure is completed. Within the family structure is completed. Now the next thing what it will do, it will go to the other family. It will go to the other family. So in other family means, now let me show you the debug point. Now it is going to the P1, right? So P1 is within that bubbling. Now I'll click on it next. Next, what happened? It went to the P2. It went to the P2. That is a other family, which is a sibling of other family. So the fourth point is it is hitting the direction of the code. The execution line is next one. It will hit the sibling, which is outside of the family. Outside of the family. Could be a right side, could be a left side, anybody within outside of the family. Now the next thing, if there is any application is there, then finally it will go to the fifth point, it will go to the application. That is the upwards. If you have a application, so that is bubbling. In the bubbling, last one is a application. It will hit the application. Now, for example, in this P2, in the sibling also, if you have a child, grandchild, right? If you have a child, grandchild, like this, if you have, what will happen? So if you have that, within the parent 2, first it will hit the parent 2, and within the parent 2, first it will go to the inheritance. So that means 1, 2, 3, and the fifth will be repeated. So first it will go to the inheritance, then it will go to the sibling in the parent 2, then it will go to the bubbling, right? And then in the bubbling, if there is any application is there, then it will, again it will hit. So that means this 1, 2, 3 will be repeated. On this use case, we will see tomorrow. Now, what is the application event?
Publish a subscriber type of event.
Sibita, what is the application event? Sri Lakshmi?
Yeah, Swapna, I understood, but I need to practice it.
Yeah, but the definition, what is the application event? Naresh? Yes, Rajkumar.
Event occur by one component and handled by hierarchical or siblings or a parent component.
So application event is nothing but a pub sub model. So whenever the event is fired by any component, irrespective of the hierarchy, it will be handled by all the components. What is the syntax for firing the application event?
$A dot get
$A
event
dot get E
Event
dot
name.
C colon app event.
Right. What is the syntax for fire component event?
Component dot get event.
Component
And then-
dot get event.
Component dot get event.
Get
So you
event
have to
and
pass
fire
the
function.
event. Yeah. So that's all conclusion. We have seen the component event use case, application event we have understood. The real-time scenario, we will see it tomorrow. That's all for today.
Swapna,